Hello everybody, welcome back to Southern Strike, and today we're going to be doing another QED editor tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about groups and group behaviors and how they interact with other groups and locations. And there is a little reserve mechanic. We're not talking about these reserves, we're talking about these reserves. There is a reserve mechanic for each individual group, and each group is referring to the intersection of a number and a letter in this spreadsheet. So A0, B0, that type of stuff. So yeah, the way you get to groups is properties and then group properties, and then this little window will open. And as you can see, we have group B0 selected, and it tells you how many guys are in that group, which correlates exactly with B0 over here. So, you know, it's selecting that group. And to switch groups, you just you type in the group up here, and then you hit go to, and then it'll update. Now it's 5-5, and some other settings are set. So yeah, you have a whole separate set of properties for each cell of guys. And we're not going to talk about the reserves yet. We're going to go into properties, and this is where the magic happens. So both of these groups, all this stuff, these four options right here, these are all references to other things that the behaviors use. So you got groups, which are, again, referring to these groups. So you can refer to another group of guys in here. Or just, I think by default it's set to, every group is set to A0 for their groups and 0 for their zones. So it'll, for you, it'll look like this. If you don't edit anything, it'll just look like that for every group. But yeah, zones, if you set them to 0, nothing will work. Even if the behavior takes a zone, it won't work because you can't place a zone 0. And then groups, you might want to be careful if you have if you're doing behaviors that take groups, you might want to be careful with this being set to A0. You could set it to like J9 or something that you're not going to use if you like specifically want them to never use groups. But yeah, and then you got the behaviors tab, which opens a whole new thing. Yours will be set to none by default, so it'll be set like that. And you got the drop down bar, and I guess we'll just we'll go over, I guess, the very basics of each little behavior. And some of them I don't know how they work. I've tested a whole bunch of different units with them. I've tested different things, and they just don't seem to do anything. Reconnaissance is one of those. And this entire empty box right here, this has for other behaviors, this has a bunch of different modifiers. So for infantry guard location, we have a whole ass load of modifiers. Most of these will still work if they have the proper group reference or zone reference. If you don't have any of these modifiers selected, it'll still do its thing. Although for some, I think you do need to have modifiers, but the basic ones you don't. So if I were to set this behavior, infantry guard location, and then zone 2, and then have that be the properties for group B0, and then have zone 2 set right here, what's going to happen as soon as I start the game is all of B0, including the gun here, they'll just like tow themselves, they'll carry themselves to the location if they're a gun. They'll just go to 2. They'll just go there and guard. And then you can just add modifiers on there. Chaotically move within. They'll just kind of run around. The infantry will just kind of run around inside. I don't think guns will move. I don't think cannons will randomly move. Vehicles will just do that too. There's a whole bunch. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory. AT guns do not occupy. Free occupied. AT guns, I think that's referring to these. So if AT guns are in the group, move to location, it's do not move to new location anyway. Do not pull to new location without a truck. AT guns do not abandon. That's referring to the infantry. And then we got howitzers. And the only thing that is a bit vague here is the buildings. By default, infantry is scripted to run into buildings if those buildings are within the zone. So if you don't want them to get into buildings, but there are buildings in the zone you want them to go to, you can just hit this. They'll free the buildings, but they won't go in them. So, yeah, and then we got infantry track group, and tracking groups, that takes the group reference here. So if we were to do this, group B0 would follow group A0 because that's the reference group and their behavior is set to infantry track group. And then we just got more modifiers. We got infantry howitzer crew. That has the exact same modifiers, and it seems to have the same behavior as infantry guard location. I haven't noticed any differences between these two, but it's probably something little. And then we got tanks guard location. That's the same. That's the same for tanks as the infantry one, and then tanks track. That's the same exact as the other track. And then we got transports assist. What this does is it refers to anything that can basically carry an AT gun or a howitzer, and it basically tells them to pick up the howitzer and move it to its location. I think I do have that set up, so I'll demonstrate that. But you can just more modifiers that are pretty self-explanatory. Some of them seem self-explanatory but aren't. I haven't tested out all of these, but all the ones I've done, most of the ones I've tested out, they do seem like they do exactly what they say. And then we got transports go to location. I haven't actually tested that. I assume they literally just go to location. They might pick up AT guns and howitzers if you have their group assigned, but we'll see. And then supply trucks repair. This is for supply trucks, obviously, but the thing I can't figure out is the build pontoon bridges. I haven't been able to figure that out. I've tested so many different settings trying to get them to build a pontoon bridge, but I don't know. And repair objects, I assume that's referring to bridges, like actual bridges you spawn in, not pontoons. And then repair only within location, I assume that'll just go around repairing damaged units in the location. And repairing objects, that might be a group reference. I'm not sure. I haven't tested out supply trucks too much, but not too crazy. And then we got rocket launchers, go to location, and then some more modifiers. So yeah, that's all of them. And now we're going to do some basic demonstrations. So for B0, we're going to do a chaotically move within location. Buildings do not occupy, although that doesn't matter because zone 2 here has no buildings. And then we'll actually set this because I want to do a transport assist one later. So we'll have the AT guns do not pull to new location without a truck. So these guys, all the infantry should run here, but the AT guns should stay there even though it's supposed to be moving to this zone. So we'll set all those modifiers to the infantry guard location. Do that. We'll set the zones to 2 and 2. When you're doing infantry guard location, make sure both of your zones are set to something. We could set this to 2-1, but then some guys are going to move up to zone 1. Some guys are going to go to zone 2, so we'll just make this 2-2. So everyone will go right here. If you have 2-0 like this, the infantry are just kind of like, they're going to randomly run to like an edge of the map and just stay there. They're not going to go to the zone. It's weird. So make sure you have both your zones set. And then we don't have any, our group references don't mean anything because the behavior doesn't take it. I haven't set anything like that, so they can be set to A0. It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anything. So there we go. So now when we run the game, all the infantry will move here and the gun will stay there unless there's a truck to transport it, which there are several. So for the transport assist, I believe I have that. Yeah, we have B4 and B2. So we'll go to groups, set this to B4, no, B2. 4 on the map, and that's referring to these 4 units right here. And we'll go to properties. We'll have the reference group B0 because that's the group with the AT gun in it. Then we'll go to behaviors, transport assist. We can do assist specified groups only. And I guess we can set that. I believe transport assist, I believe that takes a group and a location. Just by default, it might. Or it might, I guess we'll find out. We'll turn off all that and set the zones to 0. And we'll see if the trucks grab that gun and bring it to zone 2. Because it might take into account this gun zone. But we'll see. But if not, we can just set these zones to 2. Then it'll come pick up the gun, bring it to zone 2. And then it'll play whatever modifiers here. It'll do whatever. And it does have a randomly changed tracked unit modifier in here. So this does take a group. So, I think we'll go in game and test that out. I have these 3 tanks in B1, and they're set to track group B0, so they'll just follow these infantry into zone 2. But yeah, let's just demonstrate this. Well, let's see if those trucks need to have a zone specified. Where the hell? Where's my stuff? Here it is. And by the way, I don't know if I said this in the first video, but you can launch the editor from Steam. I don't know how the hell I missed that like 50 times. But we'll load up this scenario. And we'll see if the trucks start acting. Yep, here they are. So yeah, you don't need to specify, it doesn't look like you need to specify a zone. What the? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. What the? I did, okay. Yeah, I put a Greyhound as part of the transport because I was trying to transport infantry, but I don't think that's possible. I guess literally anything can transport a gun if you just set the settings right. Okay, that's something new. But yeah, so as you saw, everything happened. The infantry moved here. The gun didn't try and move at all because it didn't have anything to move it. Then one of the units in group B2, which is this, and this, those 4 units. It didn't move until one of those units from B2 limbered this up and moved it in. Then the guy moved over here, dropped him off, and I think this guy's moving. No, I set the move chaotically, but I didn't set a zone, which is probably why this guy is just like driving down. But yeah, and group B1, these tanks just followed group B0, the infantry. They just followed them in here at a somewhat of a distance. And yeah, I have a attempt to build a pontoon bridge here. I never saved the goddamn map. That's why it didn't work. Jesus Christ, I never saved the map. That's why it never fucking worked. Holy shit. Wait, no, what? No, I did work. I never saved the map, but never mind. Just pretend I didn't say anything there. Anyway, so yeah, that's how groups work. Oh, I still have to do reserves. That's how groups and locations work. Group behaviors. There we go. That's how group behaviors and locations and group references all work together. It just, you have to set a behavior. That behavior can take a group reference, take a zone reference, and then it makes the selected group act on that behavior with those references in mind. And we'll go to B1, the track, no. Yeah, we'll go to B1 here, the track units. And go to properties, we have tanks track group. And this is the group with the 3 tanks, so that's why it's tanks track. No modifiers set. The group is B0, and that's pretty much, that's all you need because these are set, the zones are set to 0, so it doesn't matter. So they'll track B0. Very easy, very simple. And now we'll start getting to reserves for each individual group, which they require a gate to use. And gates are placed just like anything else. They're a little bit awkward. We'll go to gate B here. So to place a gate, you have to place it in this like little highlighted area, the highlighted edge of the map. The thing that appears when you actually make a new mission. You have to place it on the outside. If you try and place this in, it might work. It might work if it's inside the map, but it makes sense for guys to just like be coming from the edge of the map, not just spawn out of fucking nowhere. So you left click to place this red flag. That is the spawn point, and you can change the width of the gate itself. You can make it really small. You can make it really long, and then inside the map you right click, and it'll have a blue flag, and that's like the rally point for anything spawned from this gate. And almost everything, almost every command or something that refers to gates, it also asks for a zone, for a location. So that's why I have location 1 right here. So any one that spawns from location A or gate A will use location 1, or once I specify it. But yeah, that's how you spawn a gate. And now I think I have this set up for A0. A0, go to you have to get into these options, you have to check send automatically. And basically reserves, the whole thing of reserves, what they're referring to is lives of units. That's it. So I think A0, do they have any lives? I don't think they do. I think I changed that. But we'll add some units in A0 with some extra lives. Let's give them 5 lives. So they'll basically, the reserves will be these guys' lives being used up. So I guess technically they have 25 guys in reserve, except only 5 are going to be in the field at once. So we'll spawn 4 dudes right here. Well, 5, so there are 25 lives. So each of these 1 guys is going to be able to respawn 5 times from the gate I set. So we'll go back into properties. All those guys are part of group A0. A0, check send automatically. Go to options. Now we have a whole bunch of options, like a third of which I have no idea what they do. But we'll go from top to bottom. So this one, at least once in, this one right here, this is like an interval. It's gonna check every 20 seconds if any guys have been killed in group A, 0, and then it's gonna check if those guys have extra lives. It's gonna check that every 20 seconds. If you set it to 0, 0, it's gonna check. It's gonna just endlessly check. So we'll have a 20-second interval time. There are more destroyed, and this one, these 2 right here, I've got no clue. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. I've put many numbers in these areas. I don't know what the hell they do. I don't know what they do. What I thought was obvious is that it would check, like, if I put 3 in here, it would start checking the intervals if 3 guys were killed in this group. But that doesn't seem to do anything. So we'll just turn that off. And then this one, I don't know what that does. It's the exact same as this, except I don't know. I have no clue. And then we have the via gate. This is where they spawn, and this is gate A, which is this gate right here. And then asks for a location to location. And if you remember, I had location 1 all around this A rally flag. So they'll basically move in a decent area around that flag. And then with delay, the way intervals and delays work, it's basically, if I were to do this, it would start checking the interval. It would start the interval at the very start of the game. So 20 seconds are going to go by. It's going to check if nobody's dead, if nobody needs respawning, then nothing will happen. If there's like 2 guys dead, as soon as the interval fires, it's going to fire the delay and then respawn the guys. So if we have it set like this, it's going to be every 20 seconds, someone's going to be respawned if they need to be. If this is the way it is, it's going to be every 25 seconds. Because each time this interval fires, there's going to be a 5-second delay. If I were to do this, 5 seconds after each guy is killed, he's going to respawn. If I were to do this, he's going to respawn right away. Because the interval's going right away, like endlessly right away, and there is no delay. So that's how that's going. And then you can edit the experience, hit points, and ammunition. All these are percentages. You can edit all that with the respawn. So, I guess to run through this quickly, the way this is all going to work, from the very start of the mission, this group is going to be checking every 20 seconds if any guys need to be respawned. If they don't, nothing happens. If they do, it's going to not delay anything. It's going to spawn the however many guys need to be respawned when the interval finishes. Or no, when the interval starts. It's going to spawn however many guys need to be spawned at gate A, and they're going to go to location 1 with these stats. So, just like that. And we're going to go in mission here. And demonstrate this. And then that's going to be that. Okay. I don't know why these are so low when they start with B, but whatever. Alright, so the interval starts as soon as the game starts. So right now, well, it's paused, but it started counting as soon as we did this. So let's just start shooting our own guys here. So we'll kill that guy. The interval is going. And we killed him. Then we're gonna wait. And there's the interval. It just fired. So now, everybody, gonna shoot that guy. And then it's gonna be another 20 seconds until the interval fires. And we can actually, it's gonna build up. There we go. Kill that guy. Kill that guy. And 3 guys respawn because 3 were dead. Just like that. So it's an interval, then a delay if you have one set, and then it just keeps checking. And it will just respawn however many guys need to be respawned. And the
Ready to attack.
When they run out of lives, I assume they'll stop respawning.
Colonel.
But yeah, that's all the basic behaviors, locations, gates, reserves for groups, and how lives work. And you can do all of this with scripting too. So, you know, setting locations, setting groups, setting behaviors, resurrecting units, and then sending like entire waves of new reserves. That's something you can only do with scripting. But yeah, I guess some things that took me a little bit to get a hold of when you're doing an infantry guard location behavior, make sure both of your zones are set to the zone you want to use. Otherwise, as you saw, the half track here, he was just going like fucking for a trip. The AI will not work properly if you don't set both zones on an infantry guard location or a tank guard location. It's just gonna not work. I think this guy, yeah, I haven't figured out how to build pontoon bridges yet. I haven't figured it out. I don't know what the hell. But, I guess that's it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's, not too hard once you just figure out what does what. A lot of it was pretty vague. The hardest thing was just forgetting to, or not knowing that I had to set both zones for them to work properly. That was a big thing, because I didn't know what the fuck why shit wasn't working. But then I tried setting both zones and it worked fine. So yeah. I guess transport assist. You do not need a zone reference. This is primarily a group reference. So you can be assisting multiple groups. You can assist like B0, C1, whatever you want. And then if you do this modifier, that's probably going to require a zone. So some behaviors take a group or a zone on their own, and then you have modifiers which can add the requirement for a zone or a group. But yeah, it's I guess it's like very, very basic scripting, something similar, but messing around with this allows you to crank up the complexity of missions, whereas last video, it's basically you just running at enemies who just stand there, which can be fun for a little bit, but when you start doing this, you can like make an entire assault happen. It's just that you can't spawn new stuff and then have a whole bunch of triggers and stuff. But it still increases the complexity by a good amount. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this. I think next time I'll get into scripting, and which isn't too crazy. There's really not many blocks here. And a lot of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Again, compared to a lot of other editors, this is very straightforward stuff. So you got trigger, response. It's pretty easy to use and pretty easy to get the hang of. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. But yeah, if you made it here, thank you for watching. If you watch any of my other stuff, thank you for watching that as well. And I will see you in whatever I decide to do next time. So thank you for watching.